I either have an internal narrative that is making comments about them, sometimes judging them, or I make them invisible to me. As I became aware of that process operating in me, I thought to myself, I don't want to be like that.
Hello, this is Raymond, New York Times top 10 bestselling author, bringing you Respark Your Life podcast, the world's premier podcast to ignite the fire to allow you to live life on your own terms. Every single Thursday, I bring you a multi-millionaire, world-famous celebrity to teach you about the most fascinating ways in order to live a far better life. Every single Thursday, you just need to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. I'll see you every Thursday to Respark Your Life. Yes, this is Raymond, creator and interviewer of Respark Your Life podcast, the premier podcast to open your heart and uplift your life so that you can live the life of your dreams. And I bring you very well-known friends of mine. I also bring you little-known friends of mine who have amazing wisdom. And this gentleman is one of the well-known guys. Wait till you hear his resume. You'll love him. He's a dear friend of mine, and he's also giant in the world. You'll be impressed by his resume. Barnet Bain is an award-winning filmmaker, author, and educator whose work explores creativity and the human spirit. He was the producer of the Oscar-winning movie What Dreams May Come, starring Robin Williams. He was the executive producer of the Emmy Award-nominated Homeless to Harvard. He was the director of Milton's Secret, starring Donald Sutherland and Michelle Rodriguez, based on the novel by Eckhart Tolle. And he was the director of The Lost and Found Family. And wait till you hear this. He wrote the screenplay for the movie called Jesus, which has been translated into more than 1,800 languages and is regarded as one of the most widely viewed motion pictures of all time. And he's written 2 books, and he's a friend of mine, and he's a genius, and he's really funny. And here he is, Barnet Bain.
You are indeed a friend of mine, and I can't wait to meet myself after an introduction like that.
I know, it's exciting, but I haven't told them the best part. The best part is you wrote a book that I love, and I am excited to order it because it just came out. And the book is called How to Be a Friend in an Unfriendly World. So my first question to you is, do you view this as an unfriendly world?
I view this world as basically friendly and basically good. And at the same time, there are challenges. There are challenges that are perhaps new to most of us that have developed over the last number of years. We live in our echo chambers, whether those echo chambers are family or religious or national or racial or algorithms. We're increasingly separated from each other. And we tend to have our own belief systems and value systems. They tend to be reinforced by these echo chambers that we live in. And so it's very difficult to be with other people, to meet with other people, to connect with other people, to attune to other people who are not in the same chamber. I know in my own life, if somebody doesn't share my values and my belief system, my cultural conditioning, I don't necessarily have opportunities to meet them. And
Right.
I do meet them if they are too different from me. I either have an internal narrative that is making comments about them, sometimes judging them, or I make them invisible to me. And so as I became aware of that kind of process was operating in me, I thought to myself, I don't want to be like that. I really I want to take a closer look at how that happened and why that happened and what can I do to respond to it. I want to tell you a little story, Raymond, because I know you'll dig this. I was walking in a park just after COVID, and I saw a street performer. He was wearing this incredible costume and with little stars and mirrors all over it. And he had two big sticks with a piece of yarn between them. And he had a pan full of soapy water. And he would dip his sticks into the pan, and then he'd lift the yarn, and it would create these enormous soap bubbles.
Uh-huh.
They were wonderful and they would make all kinds of shapes. But then what blew my mind is he made this bubble and it was so enormous. And then he wrapped it around himself. He stepped into it and he was encased in this
Inside the bubble?
right inside the bubble, totally inside the bubble. And first I was just my mind was blown. And then suddenly something deeper dropped into me. And I had the thought, that this is what I do. This is what I think we all do. We live inside these bubbles
That we create.
that we create out of our own the way we're conditioned and raised and educated. We make these little bubbles, and then I was reminded of Narcissus, the mythological Greek figure who he saw his own reflection in a pond, and he didn't know he was looking at himself, and he was captivated by it. He fell in love with his own reflection. And I thought, well, all of this suddenly kind of crystallized for me
Yeah,
that
I get
this
it.
this is why I have issued, I wanted to write a book about friendship. It wasn't because I felt I had it all buttoned up. It was because I thought, I'm not that great at it.
Barnett, I love the metaphor because you can't see through the bubble very well. You can see a little bit, but it's very vague. And so
Yeah,
it's as if you can see everything that's inside the bubble. Like everyone who's from your country, who wants the same sports team to win, who has the same religion as you, maybe the same occupation as you, they're inside your bubble. You can see them clearly, but everyone else you can't see very well.
exactly. 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 So, yeah, you have the same reaction that I did. And I thought, well, I want to have a response. I want to be part of the response to the awareness that I'm in a bubble. And it began with me doing a lot of journaling and a lot of thinking and a lot of writing on the subject. And I started by reading a book from 44 BC, before current, 44 years before current era, written by a guy named Marcus Trulius Cicero. And Cicero wrote How to Be a Friend. And I thought, this is so interesting, but it didn't feel terribly pertinent or relevant to today's challenges. I'm not worried about getting knifed in the gut in the Senate, in the Roman Senate. So I thought, I thought this is sort of high time that somebody dove into re-examining and updating the theme. And I thought, well, why not me?
Very nice.
Friendship is no one ever taught us how to do it. We just sort of fall into it, like you're falling into a pothole. Sometimes it's smooth sailing, and sometimes you blow a tire. So I thought,
Let me ask you a question about this.
yeah, yeah,
You and I belong to Transformational Leadership Council.
yeah,
It is a society, a closed society of about 100 of the most famous transformational leaders in the world. And I do it by teaching, you do it by writing books and making movies. But I've always wondered, there's some people in it that I really, really love. And there's other people, after 20 years, I still don't know their name. And
And it's not that they're not valid. It's not that they're not good people. It's not that they don't do miraculous work in the world. They do, otherwise, they wouldn't be in this society. So, what is it? What is it like? What makes me love you and some of the other people that I love and hardly even know the names of others? What is it?
Well, I kind of have a feeling it's because my bubble and your bubble overlay, like the gray area in a Venn diagram.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a certain kind of unconscious reciprocity. But and I share that experience with you, the same kinds of feelings. And I realized that for me to begin to enter into a relationship with somebody that doesn't overlay my bubble, my values, means that I am going to have to stretch. Now, this involves stepping out of the automatic function. We sort of take friendship for granted. We don't really let, and most of us take love for granted either. We don't think about love as something that, as a soft skill that you develop, but certainly not friendship. And so I would have to, I began to think, well, what is involved in me opening up to somebody that does not have a really big overlay? And one of the qualities of a friend, of a true friend, I'm not talking about a codependent relationship or codependent friend or a transactional relationship, but a true friendship like you and I have. It's a chosen relationship. There's no contracts in there, either explicit or below the surface. It's a relationship that we choose into, and if we can make a safe place for each other,
Yeah.
where I know if I come to you and I tell you stuff that's messy, you don't fragment, you listen, and one of your qualities is that you'll say to me, do you want me to comment to help, or you just want me to listen? Well, that's a pretty rarefied and sophisticated, mature awareness to bring into a friendship. And it doesn't come, we're not born with that insight. So these are the kinds of skills that we have to slow down and become conscious of and make choices in. And then when I come to try, when I want to expand myself so that I can be open to somebody who's existing in an entirely different bubble than I am, it means I have to put my foot on the clutch about all of my unexamined reactions and beliefs and triggers. And in that way, friendship becomes a wonderful laboratory in order to discover more and more of who I am and more of who somebody else is.
I want to ask you a question.
Oh, yeah, shoot.
Okay, so when you were talking about you and I being in the same bubble,
Yeah.
same religion, same nationality, we're both leaders in transformation, so it's easy to be in the same bubble. So it's easy to like each other, but there's other people in TLC that I'm not friends with. But it was easy for you. What is it? You call it a skill? I don't believe it's a skill. When I met you, I didn't say, "Oh, let's use all my skills to befriend this guy." I just loved you.
No. Yes. I mean, you and I have the bubbles are informed with so much of the same kind of programming that it happens unconsciously, which for most people in the world, their friendships, what they call their friendships, are largely unconscious. But you and I exist in the same kind of bubble. Somebody that approaches us who comes from a very different social and cultural background, that has different racial, religious, spiritual, political beliefs, to a certain extent, we may be triggered or fragmented, we may be suspicious, or we may just make them invisible because they just seem too other of us.
Yeah.
So the soft skill that I refer to isn't about it doesn't require much to be like Narcissus and fall in love with somebody who's already me, like you. You're already me. The trick is to develop the skills so that I can be open to discover the pleasures and the joys of being known and knowing somebody who is not like me.
Uh-huh.
And then I grow.
Is it worth it?
Um, I think it is worth it. I mean, one of the things that happens is there's a discernment that develops. Not everybody that I meet is somebody that I want to hang out with. Um, but it develops a certain kind of internal discernment, and I can have more choice in the matter. And if when I befriend, as I have, people who are unlike me,
Uh-huh.
it's it's almost like a mirror. I learn a great deal about myself. Well, what
Uh,
are my biases and where did those biases come from? And why am I projecting my biases on this other person? And
right.
why do I what is preventing me from being with somebody else without having to insist that they jump through hoops to be like me? And when I lay that all aside, which requires a certain kind of will and attention, balanced with respecting my own boundaries and not abandoning my own values, when I do that, I find that I learn, I grow, I become more trustworthy to others, and that I like myself better. And when people like themselves better, I'm not talking about egomaniacs.
No, no, I get it.
When they like themselves better and they're comfortable with themselves and they're open, other people feel that, and they are more relaxed around you, and they're generous. And I don't mean with their
Yes,
purses,
I
but
get
I
it. I
mean
get it.
yeah, for your audience, they're generous in sharing their
Okay.
beingnesses. And most of anytime I've learned and grown, it's been at the feet of somebody that was firing on more cylinders than I am.
So, Barnett, this is my podcast. I need to be able to ask a question
Oh,
again.
go ahead, shoot.
Now, I have met people who are not in a soap bubble, but in a concrete bubble.
Yeah,
They cannot see outside. And typically, it is a gigantically held political view. They
yeah,
like the president or they don't like the president
yeah,
of
yeah,
your getting the coronavirus, or they disapprove of your not getting
yeah.
coronavirus. And those are gigantic, and you can't break that concrete. And I'm afraid even to go near that. So there's some obvious places where I don't even want to try to be friends with somebody. But I do know what you mean, because a person who has just one belief that the current president is great or the current president is the worst we've ever had, if they have only one view, they're not worthwhile speaking to, because you can't have a conversation with them because they only have one view.
That's
So they're
true.
boring, even
That's
though
true.
they think they're well informed. But I can see the value of having a friend with a different income level, or a friend who comes from a completely different culture that I don't know anything about. Yeah, there's a lot of learning possible. But are you asking me to notice if I think a friendship is suddenly erupting, like, or should I purposely try to have a friend of someone who's different from me? What are you telling me
No,
to?
not really. What I wanted to do was to investigate what's involved in first of all in being what is involved in being a friend. Um, and I don't know anyone who isn't interested in having a friend and being a friend? And are there any skills involved in being a better friend? And are there any skills involved in being the kind of person whom people want to befriend? Not to say that it's an antidote to loneliness, but when people are lonely, often they they aren't equipped with some of the basic ideas that allow them to be open to friending. For example, one thing is to provide safety. If a friend doesn't feel safe with you, you can forget the rest.
Right.
Safety doesn't mean bubble wrap. It just means that you're not ever weaponizing their vulnerability. What do I
Yes.
mean by that? We all have experience with people who deploy sarcasm or passive aggressive stuff, or
Yes.
so I asked myself, can Raymond tell me something that is messy without me flinching or fixing or reacting like a reptile? And,
Right.
and if not, that's a growth edge. Or reducing the fear of humiliation or shame. Nothing closes people down faster than
Right.
embarrassment. So these are like basic things. Or to your point about political people. Well, I agree with you. When somebody is consumed with one issue, then I probably am not going to be too interested in or engaged by with being with somebody that has one topic.
Right.
It's not rounded enough
Yes.
to support my interest and my give and take. However, it part of the friending is I feel it's like when we honor someone, we are willing to be changed by them. So I could honor
I
somebody
got it.
who has one topic. Everyone's carrying like an invisible backpack, whether it's politics, culture, or history. I don't have to like what's in it, but I can respect the weight, and I don't have to hang out with that person.
I got it. I got a new question for you.
Yeah.
I have always believed that it takes a lifetime to be a lifelong friend. And by lifelong friend, I don't mean length of time as much as the depth, like the real juice of the relationship. And when I look at my own friends, I've been your friend for 20 years, Dr. John Gray's dear friend for 20 years, Jack Canfield's friend for 35 years, Martin Root's friend for 40 years. And there's no new person that can have that amazing feeling with me. At least that's my question to you. Is it
Yeah.
possible?
I think that there are certain qualities that come along with a mature relationship. Just as I have been married for close to 50 years now, and there are certain qualities of knowing and being known by another person. There are also certain responsibilities that come with that, which is not to take my everything that I know about Sandy for granted, to find ways to always make it interesting and new, to always discover what is new, so that she doesn't feel unseen. So there are certain kind of qualities that come with a long-held relationship, and there are certain kinds of there's a certain kind of excitement and interest. There's a certain kind of bandwidth of energy that comes with a new friendship. But the thing about any friendship is that you can't just fit it in. A quality of a good friendship. And when you talk about your friends, we happen to share those friends. We have those friends in common. And so I know that you don't just fit it in. You have to make commitments to friendship. It's like tending a garden, and friendships fade when left to convenience. So you are diligent about tending to your friends, and You put a name in your calendar, you keep the date. You go, you make it a point to go at least 2 times a year to when we all get together. We're basically our spiritual holiday club. You're you're there.
Yes.
There is some responsibility as distinct from obligation. One of the qualities of a really great friendship, and particularly what you're talking about, these long-held relationships, is that there is a responsibility to tend to them, but there is no obligation.
Yes, of course.
That is a big that's a very big piece of business. There are very few places in life. I can't think of anywhere else in my life where that form of love exists. It is fundamental, beyond family, beyond religion, beyond anything, all of which has some kind of obligation, not necessarily bad, but obligation. In a really wonderful friendship, and to your point about long-standing ones, these are acts of generosity and delight. Nobody is insisting that you show up to it. If you don't show up for it, it becomes your own loss.
Yes. Yes. I want to ask you a question about the book that just came out. I'm so
Yes,
excited.
very exciting. So exciting. It's doing
How to
so
be
well.
how to be a friend in an unfriendly world. I'm going to be inviting my subscribers to purchase your book, but first you need to sell it to them. Tell me one exciting thing they're going to get, or tell me three exciting things they're going to get from reading your book. A new skill, a new insight. What is it?
Oh, a new skill. Well, there's the book. The book is loaded with skills, loaded with ways that you can appreciate your friends and understand what it is that has created separation in our lives and made it uneasy and not so simple to have a conscious friendship. But we were talking about the soap bubbles before, so you'll have a deeper understanding of how that happened. And along the way, the part of the read, it's not a how-to book, and it's not only a how-to book. It's not a book of hacks. It's not a book of steps. Along the way, I know that you're going to feel delighted, and that you're going to feel a depth of understanding about what friendship is and why it matters and why it is so profoundly important to your well-being, to your health. Um, and I think it'll be like a companion. People tell me that they go to it as a way to feel relaxed and to feel soothed. And I'm not going to say it's a prayer book. It's certainly not that. But the book itself is a nice friend to have with you.
So the book on friendship becomes a friend.
Absolutely. That is
Wow.
absolutely true.
I have a final question for you. What is your favorite quotation?
In life,
Yeah.
wow. Wow. Well, I don't know that it's somebody else's quotation, but if I was going to leave our listeners with a quotation from me, it would always be to remember the love.
Remember the love. Barnet Bain. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I have two instructions for my subscribers. Number one, get his book. It's on Amazon and it's everywhere, like your favorite bookstore. And also, if you go to his personally named website, barnetbain.com, then you can get a friendship field guide. It's like a companion to the book, How to Be a Friend in an Unfriendly World. So go to his website or go to Amazon and get his book.
And that's a free gift.
And the friendship field guide is a free gift. Thank you. Thank you. You've done a brilliant job. I really loved reconnecting with you. And this is part of our friendship that we reconnect, hopefully not just twice a year at our spiritual
More.
get-togethers, but at other times as well.
More. Thank you for having me today, and it was a pleasure to be with you and to all your listeners.
And I can't believe it's been almost 50 years of marriage with Sandy.
Almost.
Wow.
Good years.
Well done, my friend. I love you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, I sure hope you enjoyed that fascinating episode. Please make sure you've subscribed, and please tell your friends, if you like it, that they will probably like it as well. For your information, this experience, this service, this podcast has been sponsored by the Orbit Coaching Program. All of my friends, all my world-famous speaker friends, all have coaching programs. Mine has been independently rated as the #1 high-level coaching program. You cannot purchase it. You have to audition for it by me personally. If you're interested, please email me at respark@aaron.com. Respark@AARON. Say that you're interested in being considered for the Orbit Coaching Program and include your cell phone number so that I personally will call you back.